Today, I'll tell you about why the Philippines is more dangerous than Thailand. This is not even a question if you've been to Thailand or spent more than a few days in each city. Of course, Thailand gets a lot more visitors than the Philippines, so you'd assume the number of cases against foreigners is higher. However, that is not the case. There are several reasons why the Philippines is more dangerous than Thailand, and I'm not just talking about earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, and natural disasters. Overall, the Philippines is much more dangerous for anyone coming to visit, despite the smiles they'll have you believe. Trevor asks, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong area, but the Philippines feels more dangerous than Thailand. I came from Bangkok, and now I'm in Manila. It's a world of a difference. Any day, Thailand is safer, says Top Car. I spent a lot of time in both countries. You can sense the tension in certain parts, especially in certain parts of Manila. I feel like the tension is a symptom of people not being all they used to, seeing foreigners, even non-locals. Hell, even if you are from a different part of town, you find yourself on some random neighborhood you don't know, you might be mistaken for a robber. People are just naturally cautious. That's just how it is everywhere in the world. Of course, someone already coming to the defense of the Filipino people, citing the fact that they are scared that you are a robber. Imagine a Filipino thinking a foreigner is the thief. Come on, let's not kid ourselves. Pasay is very sketchy, says I love Packers, especially the area near the airport. Mall of Asia area is better. Go to Makati or BGC instead. Let's just stop right there. You'll never hear somebody tell you to stay away from one part of Bangkok or Pattaya or Chiang Mai or whatever other major city in Thailand. There is your proof itself. There's no such thing as a sketchy area that is world famous not to visit. For example, Tondo, Manila, or Pasay City. It does not matter. If you've been to the Philippines, you can tell there's problematic, systematic, and just overall tension that is somewhere behind you, in front of you, or just a cloud over your head. The lack of safety is a huge concern, and you're never fully comfortable. There's something always there, whether it's the environment, the people, or just the conditions themselves. It's something that you will notice if you've been to Thailand and the Philippines. Philippines in all parts is much more dangerous than Thailand. In the provinces, it can be very dangerous if you are in a remote area. Think about this. This is a country where someone can murder a person and never get punished. Compare that to a first world country. The police are weak in the Philippines and corrupt. The courts and judges are corrupt. It's dangerous at night in the provinces unless you are in crowded areas with many people and neighbors nearby. In the cities, you are mostly safe, but someone stealing your phone can happen anytime. If you have, it's out. Thailand is ridiculously safe, and most places, late at night, it's still safe. Precisely. I'm not going to lie. The Philippines is very different than Thailand, says another person. I came from LA, and now I'm in Cavite. Safer here. Once again, people like this make me scratch my head. When you're comparing Thailand and Philippines, they bring up other countries as if to prove the point that other places are more dangerous. That is not the topic of the day. It's simply comparing the Philippines and Thailand, not the Philippines and some other country in the world. Several Set 5 says, Manila is dangerous even for locals like me. Aside from the traffic and pollution, some people there can be rude. I've never been catched in my provinces, or I've never been catcalled in my province, but every time I go to Manila, I always have an experience with catcallers and people touching me in public transportation. You'd be in a much better situation if you want to be on an island such as Palawan or Boracay. Definitely more likely to get robbed here, but I'd rather get jumped by a group of Filipinos than a group of Thais. Of course, because Thai people will beat your butt. They know Muay Thai. Trevor says, people lying on the sidewalk, dead stares from people just sitting around. Every home walled off and tons of barbed wire or spikes. Stores that you can't walk inside. You just look, point, and shopkeeper hands the product through a hole in a gate. Stray dogs, almost unwalkable roads, not many smiles. Lots of things here are dangerous. There is another great indicator. Look at the number of security guards all over the place. Look how many sorry stores are wired or completely gated off from the customer, where you simply have to stick your hand in. That tells you everything you need to know about which country is safer. The easiest measure is always the murder rate, as unless you're in Sahel, it's going to always be reported for the most part. So it's the best proxy for general danger, albeit the most extreme end. The Philippines rate is about 6.5 per 100,000 people, whereas Thailand is about 3, half of that. Is nearer 4 for the Philippines at the tail end of Duterte, I believe, but was increased since. Indonesia is only at 1.6 and Malaysia is under 1. That is a great point. All you have to do is just simply look at the stats. Hooray says, if you are a guy, Thailand is safer. If you are a girl, the Philippines is vastly safer. I dispute that also. I will not read such BS. I'm from Lat too. Lived there, I suppose that is Bangkok. Lived there for almost 50 years. My Filipino wife went to Thailand with me last year and told me Manila is way more dangerous than Bangkok. I don't think that's even a question anymore. Anyone who's traveled to both countries, especially in Bangkok and Manila, which are the biggest cities, would tell you that Thailand is safer. So if safety is your concern, I highly recommend you at least visit Thailand. Spend several months in each and decide for yourself. It's not even close. Thailand's culture is different. They're a Buddhist country. They typically like to stay away from conflict. Of course, there are problems in Thailand. I'm not saying it's a perfect place. But if you're going to compare it to the Philippines, it's miles ahead. Typically, Thailand has many migrant workers coming from neighboring countries where there's war and very little work opportunities. Oftentimes, if you follow the stories deeply, you'll notice that many of these are actually migrant workers that come here committing crimes. Local Thai people live on a different wavelength. They do not try to bother individuals. Of course, they're criminals as well, but if you're comparing it to the Philippines, there's a much better and safer place to be than Manila. I suppose you know what I'm talking about if you live there. If you've never been to either country, then perhaps you're questioning me. Maybe you think I have some type of bias towards the Philippines. I don't care about either country, but we cannot dispute certain things, such as food being a million times better in Thailand, such as women themselves being better in Thailand, and of course safety. Thailand beats the Philippines on everything, absolutely everything. There's nothing that the Philippines has better than Thailand, unless you solely rely on low-level English skills. Although, you have to admit that Thailand is becoming much more fluent in English in recent years. What else can Thailand be second to the Philippines to? I cannot think of anything, to be honest. The visa situation, now they are offering multiple long-term residency visas itself. And also, what matters to you most? Is it safety? Is it food? Women? So you have to ask yourself, why are you going to the Philippines? And I think we all know and can agree at least that the only reason why any person would go to the Philippines is for the easy women. Philippines has the easiest women on the face of earth. I'm not certain that's a good thing. They're too easy sometimes. That's why they sleep with so many different men. That's why they're all riddled with diseases. That's why it's important for you to ensure to use protection, safety, some type of contraceptive, or at least ensure you don't get some kind of venereal disease spread to you through these women. They're cheap for a reason. The best comment from yesterday's video is from Big Boss. This place's national flag should be a big red flag with a peso sign in the middle of it. That is one of the most accurate and best comments I've read. The worst comment is from Big Dummy. I suppose the name says it all. Where did this evidence that women in the Philippines are the easy to get laid with? How did you come up with that with so many millions of people in the Philippines and billions all around the world? Why not Thailand or Mexico or other countries? And how did you come up with these findings? Cash equals caring, attention, safety, and honesty. Women in general want cash regardless, up to the men to either buy or walk by. Stop blaming women in any country if you are a real alpha or sigma male. The fact that you're referring to alpha or sigma, it signifies that you yourself, sir, are some kind of beta, some kind of simp. But the reason why I know for a fact that women in the Philippines are the easiest is real life experience. My own travels, years and decades of visiting multiple dozens of countries, and simply the fact that there are 99% men that come to the Philippines. Why is that? Ask yourself. And if you actually go to Mexico and Thailand, although easier than the Western countries, they're nowhere near as easy and loose as the Filipino women. We all know this is the truth that you cannot dispute. I know you've never been to the Philippines based on your comments, or at least not outside the Philippines. Perhaps your home country and the Philippines are the only two countries you visited. And the fact that you think Filipinos are not easy tells me you yourself, sir, are a loser, someone that cannot get any woman, not even in the Philippines, which is very sad. Thanks for listening. God bless.